At this point, I was doing all the things a label was supposed to do for their artist, and I wasn't really any different from an independent artist.
Hello. Okay, so we're just gonna work. I don't know what song, 이 노래가 어떻게 될지 모르겠는데 좀 디벨롭을 해보고 싶다는 마음으로 하는 중이에요. 네.
And honestly, I'm like, if the company was cooperative, even by a little, I don't think I would have had a problem. But they weren't. They weren't cooperative. They kept leading me into dead ends. And I was pushed to the point where I started doubting myself completely.
Dude, ever since people have been like telling me that 이거 혹은 조금 임팩트가 없는데 내 귀에 의심이
I started to believe that the executives had the right answers, that music had right answers, and that I wouldn't succeed unless my music sounded like whatever was trending at the time. Somewhere along the way, I completely forgot what it felt like to have personal taste. And I hate to admit it, but I feel like I caved to the pressure. I want to be clear, I don't have a problem with mainstream music. I love pop. I grew up with the OG pop stars, Taylor Swift, Katy Perry. I had their posters. I went to the concerts. I listened to them literally every single day. I was a pop girly. Like, you name it. Like, don't play with me. I love pop. But then, like, when my company was all of a sudden being like, you need to be mainstream, like, it's not easy to all of a sudden pivot your sound just like that. I had been doing R&B, the genre my label initially signed me for years. But in Korea, R&B isn't considered as mainstream as it is in the US, which became a problem for the label. Which is like, strategically speaking, I get it, but like suddenly my music had to be mainstream for the Korean listeners specifically. I never understood why, like, my audience had to be Korean specific. Like, I don't even know why we were just like setting an audience for my art. Like, I just felt like we started off in the wrong thinking process. Like, we didn't even do anything yet, which I was like, well, like, it's weird. I still try to achieve that sound on my own, like pop sound, but like my attempts were met with comments from my label like, do better, not this. And that was like it, instead of actual feedback or any effort to move on forward. You know, do you see the frustration here? So I did what I could with the very limited resources I had. YouTube. But quickly I realized that no matter how much I learn, I will be stuck in the same cycle where the label just leads me into a direction that they don't even know where they're going. Like, bruh, like, the label wasn't even doing the bare minimum of what a label was supposed to do and what they promised me, which is like, I learned very later on that this is what people meant. Like, when artists was like, oh, like the producer, like, you know the Lynn Lapid song where it's like, she was only 17 when producer man came offering that all her dreams would come true. I was like, damn, that's what she fucking meant. Like, I didn't understand what like that song ever meant. But at that point it was just like registering in my head. Well, actually not even then, like it wasn't registering in my head yet, but it was just like, again, I don't have a problem with working hard and learning more. I'm not complaining about that. It's just that I was so disappointed in the sheer amount of unprofessionalism and honestly the quiet disrespect that came with it. And you're gonna see that with like context and video footages later on. But yeah, like even until now, like it just felt like they weren't really treating me as someone who has artistic desires, as an artist. It was quite weird. I was really fed up with the label doing nothing, so I came up with a plan just to get the ball rolling on my own. Eventually, I was introduced to this producer. His name is 𝙂𝘖. Fun fact, his name in Korean means jewelry. Very pretty name. From what I heard, he was kind of like an intern at the label, majoring in piano as a college student. And I was genuinely excited. It felt like a new beginning, like I was finally getting a step forward. Like, it's not a huge step, but it's like a step forward. So I was like, finally. But then my mind was completely set on this one goal, making a song that they, the company, would like and consider good, aka mainstream. So we started off October with the end goal of writing 2 to 3 mainstream, catchy, TikTok vibe song, which is like, literally looking back right now, insane goal to set. I kind of felt like I was forced into doing that. Like, I had no choice but to do that. You know, I wanted to create and put something out into the world. Yeah, like everything was great except for the part where I felt like I had to give up my musicality to satisfy the company's needs. I put on so much pressure for myself to actually make a song that would finally be approved. That approval was the only thing that mattered. As you saw in like the previous pages, I could not give myself a break until I made progress on a song. It wasn't even like a song that I was like really passionate about. From then on, the only way I treated my music was through suppressing what I truly wanted. I thought that the reason why the label wasn't moving forward was because my taste in what I like to hear in my music was the problem. I was totally gaslit, bruh. Unfortunately and fortunately, I didn't get to record the day that we wrote Talk is Slow. It was our very first session and I didn't really know what to expect. There was a lot of conflict in the style and the direction that we wanted to take the music in, but eventually we settled for what is catchier. So that's just great. Here is like a snippet of what the demo sounds like. Wait, I could totally show you guys. If I find it, I will play it. Do I have it? This is how like the roughs get. How do I even say what's on my mind? The kick sounds really weak through this mic. From what I remember, like we added like guitars and shit, like While I was working on Talk is Slow, another artist, the only other artist in our company, had like a upcoming TV live performance, and that experience, I want to talk about it. Like, it kind of made me rethink a lot about the kind of music I wanted to create. So the artist is, I feel like I could reveal. Yeah, I can reveal, right? 𝙂𝘼. 𝙂𝘼 is a rapper, artist, very cool guy, and the only artist in the company besides me, and I went to support him at his Inkigayo performance. If you're familiar with K-pop, you probably know what Inkigayo is, or those who don't really know anything about K-pop, totally fine. It's just a major music show stage, mostly for idols. So seeing a rapper like 𝙂𝘼 perform there was really interesting to me, so I really wanted to go and support him. I did not realize it at the time, but he was performing on the same day that 𝑚IAO was performing. There was one other boy group and then 𝑚IAO, which was crazy. I got to see them live for free. It's like kind of like slay. It was my first time seeing Inkigayo live as well. I feel like getting to watch everyone do live performances reminded me of why I started music in the first place. I felt inspired. again, which was great. That numbness I had towards my music and just music in general kind of lifted, which is like, thank God. Honestly, I didn't even know that numbness existed until I felt that revival in my spirits, I guess. I'm not really a spiritual person, but yeah. The more I talk about art, the more I get spiritual. I don't know why. I even got to talk to one of Kyle's fans, someone who followed his journey since his early years. Hearing how genuinely supportive he was towards rising artists and people who are willing to try something that they're passionate about really moved me. And in that moment, like, I felt refreshed. And shout out to him. I still remember your name, and I know he like subscribes to my channel. Hi, I hope you see this one day. It was like a very big mental support and like energy booster. Energy of the live performance was so vibrant. Seeing like the idols doing like 𝙂𝘼𝙋 𝙔𝙀𝘼𝙍, really sharp choreographs, perform and like have this like really fierce stage presence, it like really reminded me of why I fell in love with the arts in general, which I feel like I really needed. Really brought back a lot of the excitement I had towards music as like a little girl. So immediately after the show, I went straight to the studio. The live performance that day really confirmed what I quietly believed in. The spectrum of the mainstream music is so wide, especially now. Seeing 3 different groups shine in their own way with like their own distinctive music styles, I really broke out of the small shell that my company was like suppressing me into. I realized that I should at least be able to have a say in what kind of mainstream music that I want to make, and that live performance helped me reconnect with that belief that I always had in the back of my mind. Yesterday I slept at like 5. I went home at like 4 trying to finish off the song. And I think I made good progress, so I'm happy about that. But the thing is, I had to wake up early because it was Kyle's Inkigayo performance. And you know I brought my mic from my house because I kind of don't fuck with the mic that the 𝙂𝘼𝙋 gave me. I changed out of my the fit that I wore to his Inkigayo performance because like it's like really uncomfortable, I'm not gonna lie. I really like comfy fits. It's a Sunday and I was listening to Michael Jackson. Bruh, I'm so in love with Michael Jackson. Anyways, it's a Sunday. Yeah, it's a Sunday. We're at the studio on a Sunday. Because after seeing the performance, after Kyle, there was like other idols. Xiao also performed. Everything was like a reset for me. I was like, this is why I wanted to do music. Oh my god, I love music. Oh my god, it's so happy. This is why I'm making music. Let me get to work. Yeah, I'm just gonna work on my songs. And you know, I also like got to talk to one of Kyle's friend, a fan of his. We kind of like talked him back and forth, and he seems to be a big supporter of Kyle. And I was just like, yo, it's so cool. It's so cool. It's just cool people admiring other people's work. Very happy and proud for everyone, and just happy that music exists. And it's just like such an amazing thing. And seeing everyone perform, I was like, wow. My music it was usually like not criticized, but a lot of people told me, label told me like that a lot of my music, it's not like mainstream enough, not like fun enough or whatever. I want to make music that you could dance to and like make other people go like, ooh, like hype. I have a lot to learn, but I'm so excited. I'm just so excited. Now I feel inspired again. Obviously, I'm a little bit stressed because like it's October and like blah, blah, blah. But work hard until then, you know. We'll see. Okay, bye. That was my yap of Sunday. Bye. I sampled myself. So to break it down, so self-sample. We recorded these. There's like hella latency on the mic, so it was very off beat. Can you hear it? No, you can't. Fuck. So basically I did because I wanted like a different variation of it and then make it fit it to the beat. Right? Okay, so
there's that. Then I bounce that without the vocal effect. And then yeah, and then I did the at the end separately. It's up there. And then now we sampled that, and then now we have this. What's on my mind? Nice! Yay! Why am I so red? Yay! Cool, that was fun. I think I'm gonna try to harmonize with the so right now in the chorus it's like I'ma do that, yeah. We're gonna do that way. I should probably not do haha. That was so whatever. Jesus. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if that is I don't know if that'll work. It's worth a try. When we use it as a sample, like an instrumental. Crossfade. I'm a slow worker. I'm sorry. It really helped me reconnect with my inner artist, inner child. So thank you for that. Like during sessions, I always felt like I didn't really have a choice to balance my artistry with accessibility of the kind of music that we're making. My confidence in my own visions had completely disappeared from my time being in that label. I low-key believe that my musical ideas and taste and my artistry could never be mainstream, and that my company would never approve of it. Believed that it was exactly what the label was saying it is. But after Inkigayo, I felt so much more comfortable in trusting my musical ideas, so I added more of my personal style into the track of Talk Is Slow. And I could give you guys a little snippet of that version of Talk Is Slow, which I personally think is a lot more fun. I couldn't really do a lot because we already kind of set the parameters of what it's like, but I still sampled a scene from Mean Girls. How do I even say what's on my mind? 'Cause this might sound, I don't even know if I could share this, but the kick sounds so weak here. That scene where Regina's shut up, and then fuck, I forgot her name. The main character, she's I didn't say anything, because the song is about trying to shut the person up with a kiss, anyway. So Talk Is Slow. Anyway, I like the song. It's cute. I thought those added flavors were a good balance between me and what's considered mainstream. But in the end, they fucking scrapped it from the final fucking demo. One can argue that
maybe that was the right choice. I don't know. I didn't have the courage or like the self-confidence to ask why or like initiate a conversation on like why we should actually go with my version. So I didn't push for those changes to be kept because honestly, my confidence in my music was like rock bottom hell. But it gets worse. It gets really worse. Just sit tight. But looking back, I really wish I had tried to advocate for myself at least, or to at least like openly talk about the textures, sounds, and the feelings I wanted in the music. I feel like I wasn't even given the opportunity to do that. Like my company almost felt like, no. Like that's not right, and we're not going to tell you what is right, what we think is right. We're not even going to tell you. We're just going to get you to keep guessing. So I will continue that what happened to 𝙂𝘼𝐿 in the later episodes, but because like this isn't even like the frustrating part. This is actually the fun part. Like this was fun. This month of October was pretty fun. I feel like the lesson of this page is, Ailym, you should have just trusted yourself. Always trust yourself. Because like, I feel like you lose nothing from actually trusting yourself, other than maybe like people call you stubborn. I will get into that later. I feel like your taste is immaculate, Ailym. I'm not good at talking good about myself for some reason. I just laugh at it, but I think I need to get better at, especially when it comes to like working on my artworks. I think it's a little bit different when it comes to like songwriting for other artists or like idols, but like that's like a whole nother thing as well. But the lesson learned here is like you should have trusted yourself until the end. And a lot of people who want to be artists should do that. I strongly believe, because if we all conform to the same idea of what is like good art, I feel like the fun of art and like the beauty of art dies itself. But like this whole thing is like a learning process where we trust ourselves with the choices that we make in creating. But it's hard. It's hard because we're trying to believe in something that might not even exist in the world, that only exists in our brain, and that's why it's called like a vision, That's why it's hard to trust our own vision. Artists are people who are trying to convince other people of what doesn't exist, what isn't in the spotlight. The irony of all of that is that the beauty within art is when something completely unique to yourself comes into the world. And I feel like that's when you create, genuinely. Wow, I'm saying some deep shit here. That was page 4, a note to self. On the next espresso. On the next episode, I'm gonna talk about how I wrote Pretty Girls, which is essentially a K-pop song in disguise of an OST soundtrack. But yeah, I'll talk about that because that's the other half of what happened in October, which is like writing that song and like what the fuck happened with that song. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Oh, by the way, her name, this beautiful jelly cat, she's a swagger. She's a baddie, so like she has my old lashes attached to her tail. That's not intentional. Her name is Barry. Say hi, Barry. Anyways, yeah, thanks for listening. Bye. I will make sure to be consistent because I'm trying to find a system, and I think I found it for this. Thank you for being patient with me. I love you guys so much.